retraction fails, printer jams, PTFE problems, and 3D printing on fabric? All of this and more at Print Fail Friday, episode 12, where failure is always an option that we try to reduce where we can. Let's get into it. Let's start off with the little Pepto Bismol pink Benchy with help to dial in the settings. Let's take a look at the details. First off, we've got some photos here. Appears to be some retraction or extrusion issues. I'm going to initially state that it's going to start to be a retraction issue. We can see some blobbing here, right where the retraction is occurring on the Benchy. Hi, I'm assuming it's just a setting or three I may have to tweak, as the print seems okay above and below the porthole. I'm just not sure where to start. There's a bit of stringing as well, which, unless it's related, was what I was going to work on after sorting this out. Print details are ANET A8 hardware with ramps 1.4 board. I'm including this in case it's limiting the quality. Amazon Basic 1.75 PETG, print temp 230, print speed 40, layer height 0.2, 20% infill. Any other settings are Cura defaults. 1. Does your ANET A8 have thermal runaway? If you haven't messed with it and you've had it for a minute, I bet it doesn't. You need to verify that. To verify this, just remove the thermistor from the hot end. This can be a relatively easy thing to do, depending on the hot end itself. It could be a screw, could be some tape that you have to remove, and you can go ahead and remove the thermistor. It is not the big circular cylindrical item. That is your heater cartridge. It is the other bit of wires. That is your thermistor. If you then tell the printer to heat up and it doesn't stop after 30 or 60 seconds, throw it out. You can add thermal runaway back in. It is a quick firmware flash, but honestly, throw it out. ANET A8s are dangerous 3D printers. They have been for many years, and they've caused a number of house fires in the 3D printing community. I don't want you to be a statistic. Be careful. But let's actually look at solving this problem, shall we? We've definitely got an issue with retraction. From what I can tell, let's zoom in on this photo. Can we? Enhance.
Freeze and enhance.
It's not great. We're definitely dealing with an issue where we're not putting enough material back into the nozzle, or it's ramming. I would look at adjusting your speeds for the retraction. Another commenter is stating, try 8.5 millimeters at 32 millimeters a second. That might be a little high for an ANET A8. I would lower it down to like 5, taking it out at maybe 50 or 60, and then putting it back in around that 30 to 35 range, so you don't have a back pressure issue. You can look at enabling coasting. Coasting is awesome, and it can absolutely help with the blobbing that we see here. I wish the photo was a little bit more clear, because it would let me see if this blobbing is at the start or the end of the line. As far as the stringing, 230 is actually on the low side for PETG. This could be temperature related, but I would look at trying to figure out that either extra restart distance or potentially some ramming settings before I look at temperature, because stringing is sometimes caused by either too much temperature, but it's not always too little temperature, and 230 is kind of low for PET. This might also contribute to some of the issues that you're seeing. If you are retracting a lot over and over and over again, you're not extruding a ton of filament around this porthole area on the Benchy. Therefore, you're just grinding the filament up and down over and over, creating problems. Something to look into for sure. This one will likely require a follow-up, so hopefully we'll get some more answers soon. PTFE tube gets clogged when I change filament. Hello everyone. I must be doing something wrong, because when I need to change filament, my PTFE tube often gets clogged 7 to 8 times out of 10. That's a pretty high number. It doesn't appear right away after changing filament, but generally after 1 or 2 prints. Once I clean the hot end and change the PTFE tube, or just clean the tip, I don't experience any clogging until the next time I change filament. Here's how I change filament. Warm up the hot end to print temp, push a little filament through, then pull back all the way. I've tried not to push before pulling, and I've also tried to use the Cura setting change filament at height, but the same problem appears. I have a CR6 SE. I would look at how you are inserting the Bowden tube into the hot end. Your method of pushing a little bit through, then pulling out is actually good form. Congratulations, you're on the right path. However, a lot of times when you're dealing with Bowden connectors, you're just pushing the tube in and that's it. What you then need to be doing is pulling up on that Bowden connector and pushing the tube in further. There will be a little bit of play inside of that connector. That's why those little blue clips are included. That way when you pull it back up, you insert the Bowden tube, you put the clip on it, it holds it down. If you want to learn more all about Bowden tubes, make sure you guys get subscribed because your boys got in some goodies from Capricorn, including 2 different types of their Bowden tube, these awesome Bowden tube cutters, as well as some couplers. We're going to be doing a video comparing Bowden tubes coming up. Because Bowden tubes, especially in your non-all-metal printers, can be a massive point of frustration. Especially if you're printing high-temp materials like PETG or ABS that run on the upper end of what non-all-metal hot ends run, you can be degrading that PTFE relatively quickly. Given what we're learning here, I don't think that's particularly the case. It is more likely that there is some backlash inside of that Bowden tube. Now, we can also look at something that I've been dealing with, heat creep. We're going to get to my problem. It was part from last week's. We'll card to that video so you guys can take a look, where we were dealing with those Flexi Dragons. We finally have a solution. We'll be implementing it in an upcoming video. But I would check to make sure that you're getting enough flow over your hot end. Verify that when you're printing, the heat sink for your printer is not hot. If the heat sink for some reason is hot, well, you got to get a new fan. If it's not jamming during the print and it's only jamming on the removal, it's likely some backlash in that Bowden tube system, so make sure it's nice and tight. The CR6 SE is actually a pretty decent printer for the price. I don't think it's a printer problem. We haven't seen many of these issues come out of the CR6 SE. However, it's not impossible. To review, 2 things to check. Make sure your Bowden tube is properly seated. When you are inserting the new Bowden tube, make sure you pull up on the connector and push in a little bit more. Should be a little bit more that goes in. That might help you get aligned properly. And also verify that your fan is working and blowing cooler air across your heatsink. Give those a shot, let me know if it works. Can't seem to get a good first layer even with bed leveling. New bed, new filament, glue, and adjusting Z. Well, the bed is not level. We can see that we're doing okay here, but as we get to this side of the circle, we are way too close. We're actually digging into the bed. And likely that is causing your filament to jam. We see a relatively clean nozzle, a little bit of shmoo there, but that's not really all that big of a deal. Certainly nothing to be too concerned about. And I think that's the same as the first photo, or at least the same print. I believe, oh, this is a Creality printer. That's, you know, the Creality style hot ends. It appears to be an Ender 3. I don't think it's going to be a temperature related thing. I'm actually curious to know if your drive gear on your motor is working properly, and if it is providing enough friction. I would also look to make sure that your idler is not broken. It is common on the Ender series that those plastic idlers that apply spring pressure against the extruder gear can actually break. We had this happen on one of our printers that we reviewed a while ago, the BOGO 3D printer. We'll card to that video so you guys can take a look, where it was buy one, get one free, but the free printer was somebody's return. It's a little bit of an interesting video. I believe that we still have a bed leveling problem. We're a little bit too far. Maybe we're just right over here, but on the left side, we're way too close. And I think that as you start to print over here, you're creating a lot of pressure that is likely not going to find its way out until after the filament has been damaged. I would verify that the printer extrudes in free air when it's not printing. So just move the Z-axis up, heat up the printer, and tell it to extrude, I don't know, 100 millimeters. Put a little bit of pressure on the filament as it's going into the extruder to make sure that the extruder has enough pressure to pull the filament in, right? Enough torque. Sometimes the grub screws on your extruder can come loose, causing it to spin every now and then, not giving you consistent extrusion under pressure. And when you're dealing with something where you are way too close on one side, that's going to create a lot of excess pressure. I don't believe glue is a thing here. I don't know what the filament is, but if it is PLA, the 180 to 210 is pretty reasonable. The new bed, probably not necessary, but hey, good on you for making the change. We move from one type of clog to another. This is a follow-up on our fails. This is our time-lapse printer that's been a little upsetty spaghetti with us. And, well, I think we found it. With the wonderful help of two awesome individuals in this community, Mr. Bob Carnes and Jordan of Mad Monkey Makes, and we'll put links to their social media stuff down in the description. Make sure you guys go and support them. They're awesome guys. They helped me walk through the method of figuring out the problem. I immediately wanted to change the fan. It's our oldest printer, but they're both like, stop it, one thing at a time. And the fan is the hardest thing to replace because, oh yeah, you don't have any in stock, you ding dong. So we went through tons of things, including changing out the thermistor. You'll see the original thermistor here, and there is a replacement thermistor inside. We did not unwire the Prusa because that is a pain in the ass, and we didn't want to do it until we knew what the problem was. It's not the thermistor, so we're not going to unwire it, but it is the fan. We wanted to also make sure that it wasn't Octoprint, because Octoprint and Octolapse add on the Master Chief bust, which, if you haven't seen that video, we'll put it up right next to me as I'm talking. Gorgeous piece, by the way. But this one took something like 17 or 18 hours, and the one that was done without the time lapse, the green one, took 3 or 4 hours less. It is much longer when you look at 1,000 layers, 3 to 4 seconds per layer. It adds up very, very quickly. Just like my segue, our sponsor, 3D Musketeers. If you want to get your ideas out of your head and into your hands with full art-to-part rapid prototyping and product development, you can reach out to us, 3D Musketeers. Links will be in that description down below. We make really cool stuff here, and we'd love to help you make really cool stuff. Whether it's random parts from video games that are popular, flexible dragons, or an idea that you don't want to see the ghost of Billy Mays talking about on late-night television, we can do it all. Architecture, personal injury, food packaging, aerospace, inventing, it doesn't matter. We can help you out here at 3D Musketeers. And if you want to support the efforts that we are doing here on this channel directly, you can do so at patreon.com/3D Musketeers with tiers starting as low as $1. And that goes directly to giving this cat some extra love. Let's get back to the video. This heat creep showed us that it is the fan. Now, I don't know if I should thank Dave Randolph or not. We'll card to his episode of the podcast because it was a ton of fun. But he had a massive sale for Black Friday, and I spent way more money than I should have, and I regret absolutely nothing. But inside of that box, which I did do an unboxing video. Do you guys want to see an unboxing video of our Black Friday filament haul from Printed Solid? Let me know down in those comments. But inside of that, I included a couple of Sun-On drop-in fans for the Prusa Mark III's that originally uses Noctua, and I'm a massive Noctua fanboy. There is well over $100 in Noctua fans in the computer sitting next to me because, well, they work. But they're not, in this particular application, the perfect fit. Sun-On does make a better fan. The Noctua fan is generally good enough, but over time, they will crap out. I don't know if this one's crapping out or if there's some sort of external variable that's included in there, but we're going to be going through the entire series in an upcoming video on how to change out the hot end fan on your Prusa Mark III's. So get subscribed if you want to see content like that, because it's coming soon, because I need to get it done. That's a video that we actually are going to film because I need to do it. But that heat break is freaking clogged, and outside of literally hitting it with a blowtorch by taking off the heatsink, there was no way of actually fixing that clog. I got an Allen key in there with a pair of pliers. I could not ram it through. It was not happening. And, well, we were giving it a bit of the beans. We were using silk filament, a filament that is known to expand quite a bit. So if you want to torture test something that you think might be experiencing heat creep, silk filament is the right way to do it. And it can be a fun filament because it tends to look pretty cool when it does succeed. These are some of the failures of parts that we were trying out. This is the time lapse as well. We'll have it up on the screen too so you guys can see the turbine bowl from Clock Spring, and this is Fotis Mint's Halo Master Chief bust. A really nice piece too. Both those are nice pieces. But yeah, that one took me for a bit of a riddle because there were so many variables and it was difficult to isolate them. With the help of Bob and Jordan, we were able to isolate them, and I'm incredibly thankful for their assistance in that. Remember, you don't have to shoulder this burden all on your own. We're happy to help you out. Make sure you tag us on social media. Use the hashtags PrintFail or PrintFailFriday as well. That way we can find the posts. But make sure you tag us, because I don't always remember to look for the hashtag. So tag us in the posts. Now we go to some fan submissions from Shorey Designs. I know Shorey Designs. We hang out every now and then, and he is an awesome guy. If you've always wanted to learn to 3D print on fabric, you want to follow some of the awesome stuff that Shorey Designs is up to. Seriously, we'll link to all their social media accounts in the description. I really enjoy what they do. Shorey Designs really pushes the limits of what's possible with 3D printing, and this is kind of pushing a limit. Although, if he had a leg to stand on, we might be okay. God, that's a terrible pun. But I'm leaving it because I can. This leg came delaminated from the build plate. I'm guessing he was building some sort of model, and it ended up coming delaminated. It happens. It looks like he did build in a brim, but it does appear that maybe the printer ran into something and caused it to break off. We've all had this happen. This does appear to be an older printer, and you can see it was 210 weeks ago, so that is 4 years. That's almost 4 years on the dot. So this was a long time ago. 3D printing was different 4 years ago. It's a bed adhesion problem. I said it before, Shorey Designs is awesome about printing on fabric. He does some really, really cool stuff. Like, seriously. Let me show you his website real quick. One, gorgeous website, right? Absolutely gorgeous. And you can see that 3D printing on fabric is something that, he's gotten down pretty well. These dragon scales that he's been working on is absolutely fabulous. All right, enough fangirling. Back to the fails. This is a pretty rough failure, but I love the way that he's looking at this. I do the tests so you don't have to waste time. Documenting printability and putting the data on Patreon with his link in the bio. We'll link to all that stuff in the description for you guys as well. Shorey does amazing stuff with embedding plastic into the fabric to create parts that are flexible but not interconnected. And it appears here that the printer might have had one of these little scales come delaminated and then just ripped the whole thing off. I don't know. I don't know much about printing on fabric, and I would love to have Shorey on our podcast. I'm going to reach out to him to see if he wants to do an episode, because that would be so much fun to talk all about 3D printing on fabric. Let me know down in those comments if you guys want to see that. I also love talking with Shorey. He's a great guy to talk to. Yeah, bummer. Been there before. To fix this one, though, I'm actually not certain. This is not my forte. I mean, maybe some Z-Hop would be able to help, but we do seem to not have great holding power between the parts that are on the bed and the parts that are on the fabric. There's some disassociation there. If that's intended, well, hey, it's working as intended. If it's not, then yeah, I don't know enough about this industry and that technology and how it is done to be able to comment on it successfully. Shorey, he knows what he's doing. It's been a bit of time between this, and he's gotten way better. And that's Mr. Shorey himself. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching Print Fail Friday. I hope you enjoyed this one. Let me know down in those comments if you like this style of video that we do, where we look at fails and we try to solve them. Some of them are ours as well. And while you're down there, Don't forget to leave a like and hit that subscribe button, and you can ring that bell if you think we deserved it. I want to earn follow. I want to earn your support. I don't just want to yell at you to ring the bell and all that. So if you think we deserved it, please do. We'd greatly appreciate it. Stay safe out there. Don't forget to call your loved ones. And as always, keep making awesome. Have a good one. Deuces. Hey, thanks so much for watching this video, and a massive thank you goes out to our patrons. Thank you guys so much for your support in making this thing possible. Without you all, we wouldn't be here right now. And if you want to support our efforts directly, you can do so at patreon.com/3dmusketeers. And kick us a couple of bucks if you think we've deserved it. Right below me will be the entire Print Fail Friday series, where we go through a myriad of problems with a myriad of printers. And next to it will be the Sanjay series. As a lot of you know, Sanjay Mortimer is no longer with us, and well, I'm glad that we were able to do an interview with him and get to know him a little bit better, and hopefully you all will enjoy that one too. I'd love to know what you all think about this series, so I will see you down in those comments, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.